What's going on, everybody? DJ Valentine here right about now. But I am back with another little off-the-cuff video for you, another little story from my past. I've had a couple of people actually ask me, yo, you should tell us about these digital pimp stories. For those that don't know, Digital Pimp was the nickname I used to go by during my teen years, and there's a whole bunch of stories connected to that name alone. And I've got a few requests from people now to start talking about those digital pimp stories. We're not ready for that yet. We're not ready for that because the digital pimp stories are not just like one story. That's a whole saga, complete with chapters, okay? There are multiple parts to the digital pimp story. So we're not quite there yet. We'll get there eventually. It's gonna be like a multi-part off-the-cuff series of videos. We're not there yet, but it'll be something to look forward to. Before we begin, I'd like to send a massive shout out to Alandria for backing me on Patreon. Thank you so much for being here and helping me with all of this. It is incredibly appreciated. You are brilliant. Thank you so much. And if you would like to join Alandria too, then please check out the link to my Patreon in the video description. All help is appreciated. Safe. And look, okay, so here we go. I'm ready to roll this one out now. There's a few things that happen within the context of this story. It all just sort of rolls into one little part after another before it just ends in this weird sort of euphoric high. It's so strange. It's a strange story. But anyway, here we go. Here's the story of that one time I had to wear the official Sonic the Hedgehog costume for SEGA Europe and all the surreal things that happened when I did. Okay, so we're taking it back again. We're not taking it as far back as the last video. In the last video I was like 14, 15 years old. We're not going that far back, but we are going back to the year of 2008. At that point, I was actually living outside of London. I had moved to Scotland. I was living in Edinburgh with my girlfriend Trippy, and together we were co-running the Nights into Dreams community. We were running the fan base together. True story. I don't know, some people don't know this about me, but before I've done the YouTube and everything else, I was actually co-running the Nights into Dreams community. And because we were doing that, we were in contact with SEGA Europe a lot. They had gotten in contact with us. Specifically, Mr. Kevin Eva from SEGA Europe. Had reached out to us, got in contact with us, started inviting us to community events and so on and so forth. So Kev was our go-to guy at SEGA Europe during those early days back in 2008. And there was this one particular event that was happening during 2008. If you don't know about the Guinness World Records, obviously they do the World Records, they bring out books every year. They were going to do a video gaming edition of the Guinness World Records. They were bringing out this book, and they wanted to do a Guinness World Record for the amount of cosplayers in the same place at the same time. My girlfriend Trippy, obviously, as we said, we co-run the Knights community together back then, and she had made her own elaborate Knights costume. Very, very elaborate, super elaborate. And she had shown it off a little bit, and obviously Kev had seen it. So our boy Kev at SEGA Europe hollers at us and he goes, oh, that would be really good for the cosplay event that we're going to do in London. So he contacts us. He's in London, we're in Edinburgh in Scotland. He sends us an email going, hey, so we're doing this cosplay event for the Guinness World Records, most number of cosplayers in the same place at the same time. Trippy, do you want to come down and bring your Knight's costume and represent SEGA at the event? And of course she was like, hell yeah. And I'm sitting there like, I'm like some sideman now. I'm just sitting there like, what am I gonna do? I've got no costume. But then like they come up with this idea. Like Kev comes up with this idea. Like if Digi wants to come down as well to this event, we could dress him up in the official Sonic the Hedgehog costume, and he can wear that to the event and represent SEGA by wearing the official Sonic the Hedgehog costume. And I was like, looking at this, I was like, yo, that's peak, man. Yeah, that's gonna be a bit crazy. Like, okay, the official, not some homemade thing. The official Sonic the Hedgehog costume. They had that, and they were Kev was asking me to wear it. Like, come down, wear it. I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm down for this. Let's do something crazy. So me and Trippy packed our bags. We flew down to London and met up with Kev. And we weren't quite sure like where we were gonna stay for the night. So he goes, well, we're just gonna stay in the SEGA office. And I was just like, what, seriously? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm just like, oh, okay. This was at a point in time where I was super new to interacting with SEGA. So when Kev said to me, yeah, we're just going to stay in the office all night, in the SEGA office. We're going to stay in the SEGA office. I was just like, Yo. I was geeking out. I was like, okay. So basically, we went to the Sega office. There was I think at the time there was like 2 or 3 different offices dotted around London. And there was this one particular office located in Old Street. And so we went there. It was late at night. We went in. We went up to the office where Kevin's desk was. We sat down and we were just, shooting the shit for a while. Kev was recording a podcast and we were sitting there singing Supersonic Racing at like 2 a.m. in the morning in this office in London. I'm looking down at the street and people like coming out of the pubs drunk as hell, buying doner kebabs from the Turkish restaurant round the corner, frying up on the curb, and I'm just standing up in this Sega office singing Supersonic Racing at 2 a.m. in the morning with Kev and my girlfriend Trippy. And we was like, alright, so we're in this office. It's like 2 a.m. and the event doesn't really start until like 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And this is going to be a long wait. So we're going to be up in this office all night. So we're just like, all right, well, we'll just jam around the office for a bit. And I remember at one point it got like really late. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, I can't keep my eyes open. We're in this Sega office and I'm like, there's no one else there. It's just me, Trippy and Kev. And I was just like, I got to sleep. So I just went into one of these side offices. I slept underneath a conference table in Sega. Fucking hell. It was very, very uncomfortable. It was one of those hard floors with the fake carpet, like one of those AstroTurf kind of carpets. I was lying on the floor. I was like, oh yeah, this is banging. Living at, you know what? I didn't care though. At the time, I was like, yo man, I'm in Sega. Oh yeah, shit. I was sleeping in a trash can. I'm in Sega right now. Let's do this shit. But I slept for about 30 minutes. Trippy slept for about 30 minutes, and I think at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, we were like. The thing about my girlfriend Trippy, her costume, because it's so elaborate, takes a bloody long time to put on, including the makeup and everything else, to put that costume on was gonna take a while. Yo, we should probably start getting you dressed into your costume. And we started putting all the straps and the zips and the flipping corset and everything. It's an elaborate costume, people. It's an elaborate costume, trust me. And it took a while. And then Kevin was over at his desk and he had fallen asleep at his desk. He was sleeping. So me and Trippy are just like sort of sitting in this office at like the early hours of the morning. And suddenly the door opens. And this guy walks in and he just sees me like as a rude boy. I'm wearing a hoodie and that. I'm standing there with my short spiky hair with my flipping tracksuit on. And my girlfriend's there in this really elaborate flamboyant purple and white costume, right? And he looks at us. I didn't even know who he was. I never caught his name. He looks at us. He goes, good morning. And who are you? I was like, how do I explain? We're with him. And I just pointed over to Kev, who was asleep at his desk. And he went, Kev. And Kev woke up. And Kev was like, all right. And the guy goes to him, who are these people? And Kevin's like, oh, they're here for the costume event today, the Guinness World Record. And the guy was like, have you guys been in the office all night? And I didn't really know what to say, so I just sort of went, yeah. And he was like, you should have told us. We would have put you up in a hotel for like 24 hours. I'm just like, oh, never mind. Who gives a shit? I was in Sega all night long for the early hours of the morning. I don't give a shit. But yeah, that was a bit awkward, man. Just standing in this office and the first guy to come in just appears through the doorway and sees this rude boy and some elaborate flamboyant jester standing around the office. Like, yo, what the fuck have I walked into? But anyway, Kevin had to sit me down and he goes, right, listen, you're going to be wearing the official Sonic costume for this. So there are some things you can't do while wearing the costume. This is official business now. If you're wearing the official Sonic costume, because you're literally representing the company with their official costume, right? You can't do certain things, right? Firstly, you can't talk. You can't say a word, okay? And because I was being an idiot. I was saying to Kevin, I was like, yo, listen, let me do some gang signs and shit. Like, let me do some like West Coast gang signs and stuff, yeah. And it was like, you can do that in the office, but you are not doing that at any point after we've left this building. And I'm like, yeah, I suppose that makes sense, because the last thing you need to be is outside at a public event with the media present, and you've got Sonic the Hedgehog doing gun fingers and shit, bro. Instead of like, yeah, bro, hey, suck your mum. It's not gonna fly too well, So I was like, okay, I better be well behaved, especially if I'm wearing the flipping Sonic costume. But he sort of, guided me through the process of what to do with the costume, and then I had to try it on. Of course, as well, we had to try the costume on. And my God, the rehearsal was like, you gotta wear this like tight hairnet thing. Like, you look like a flipping racing car driver, one of those face strappy hairnet things. And obviously, you gotta wear tights, bro. You gotta wear these tight trousers, yeah. I'm talking like strapped to me. A man's got thick thighs, man. My thighs are kind of thick, I'll be honest with you. I'm wearing these fucking trousers and they are just strapping to me. I'm like, I'm curving out here. I'm curving out here. So anyway, I done the rehearsal. I was like, yeah, there's like clips and shit inside this giant Sonic head. And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna have to wear this on the day. Man, I don't know how the official people do it. I don't even know if they've got an official costume wearer. But anyway, I'm out here. It's my moment. I'm gonna do it. So we got me ready. We've done a rehearsal. Got me out of the costume because I can't wear it to the area. I can't wear it to the venue. I need to actually get into public transport. And the head for this Sonic costume was fucking massive. There's no way I'm going to be able to wear that and then get into a vehicle. So I'd done a rehearsal, took the costume off, and then we went to the location where it was being held. And it was being held on the River Thames, on one of the bridges. I'm not sure which bridge it was. I want to say the Millennium Bridge, but I might be wrong about that. But anyway, we was down there. We was like one of the first people there. And a couple of people started turning up, 1 or 2 cosplayers here and there started turning up. I was like, okay, it's not so bad. The entire time, Trippy's just dressed as Knights. Like, she doesn't give a fuck. He's like, get in the cab dressed as a flying purple jester. Fuck you, who gives a shit? So she's been dressed as Knights this entire time. And I'm like, look, I'm gonna have to get changed, yeah? Could I just go into there was an art gallery nearby. And I was like, can I just go into the art gallery and use their toilets and get changed into this? Because, you know, it's like, I think it was like February or something. And we're outside near the River Thames. It is peak coldness right now. And Kev was like, I'll ask. And he went in, he came back, we're not allowed to use their toilets to get changed. You're going to have to get changed out here. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. So, we find a spot somewhere for me to get changed into the costume. So I'm like, yeah, it's cold, bruv. I'm outside on the River Thames with my boxer shorts, man. I'm freezing. Put the costume on, tight fucking trousers, giant Sonic head. When you put this Sonic head on, okay, you don't really notice it when you're looking at the photographs. But on the photographs, if you look at Sonic's eyes, they're made of foam. Like the foam, like sponge, the stuff that you clean your dishes with, yeah? Foam. You had to peer through foam to see where you were going. So it's already kind of, your view is restricted on where you're going while you're wearing this. And I'm outside now wearing the Sonic costume. I can't see shit. I'm freezing cold. I've got tight strapped to me. I've got a giant Sonic head. I've got these clips that are digging into my chin and I'm looking through green coloured foam. And I can't see nothing. And I'm like, I'm not going to make it through 1 hour dressed like this out here, bruv. I'm going to die out here. I'm going to die in the Sonic costume out here in London, fam. Anyway, we walk around a bit. Some more people start turning up. A couple of newspapers turning up. The Sun newspaper turns up and they want us to take photographs next to this bus and all this thing. And I'm like, alright then. And I can't see where I'm going. So Trippy, who is dressed as Knights, is holding my hand. I'm dressed as Sonic. She's dressed as Knight. She's holding my hand, trying to guide me to where I've got to go. I can't see where I'm going. That's a fucking photograph image right there. Like Knights holding Sonic's hand like, come on this way, you dickhead. So we're standing by this bus ready to take some photographs. And then in the distance, this sea of red hats just appears from nowhere coming down the road. And I can't see properly. And I'm like, what am I looking at? Right? I'm not supposed, I can't talk either. I can't say much. So like, just under my breath, I lean over at Trippy and I go, what's that coming towards us? And she goes to me, it's a bunch. It's a whole squadron. It's a whole bucket load of 10-year-old kids dressed as Mario. And I'm like, oh, fuck off, right? And obviously they've seen Sonic now, and you know what the flipping deal is. You've got Mario and Sonic, massive rivals and all that thing. And they've seen a giant Sonic, and you've got these 10-year-old little Marios, all dressed with a moustache and the hat on and the overalls. Oh, fuck it. I'm target number 1. And I'm like, I wasn't signed up for this. I wasn't going to deal with Marios today. Not like 30 of them, all 10-year-olds screaming motherfuckers. They run up to me, and they've just surrounded me, and we're standing at this bus, and I'm like, shit. And obviously they're poking the costume, they're flipping like, this is Sonic. It's like, shit. And I can't say anything. Anyway, one of the photographers for the Sun newspaper gets us to line up on all this thing. And he's like, stand next to the bus. Oh, the Marios can all stand in front of Sonic. That'll be a great shot. And I'm like, And obviously these Marios are huddled right close up next to me, yeah? And because I've got this helmet on, there's obviously gaps so that you can take the helmet off. The helmet is not completely strapped to your head. There's gaps underneath the helmet. And one of the kids, dressed as Mario, turns around and looks up. And he looks through the gap. And he sees my face. And he goes to his friend, he nudges his friend, he goes, there's a guy in there. And I'm like, I just looked out, I looked down at him with this horrific face with the beadiest eyes I could muster, and I just looked at him. I can't say nothing. I'm dressed as Sonic. I'm official right now. Official Sega business. And I just look at this kid right in the eye with this look of, shut your mouth. It was like, you shut your mouth. Obviously, I'm just like, don't you dare say a word. Don't you blow this from me, okay? This is my big moment. You Marios, everything was going fine until you Marios turned up. No, for real, the kids were great. They're having a laugh and a joke, and you know we messed around a bit. But I just remember looking at this one kid like, shut up. Anyway, so we took the photographs and we went back to the River Thames to start taking the numbers down for the amount of cosplayers that were in the area. And I don't know if you guys know of like CBBC. It's like the part of the BBC channel that shows children's TV shows. And there's this show on CBBC called Newsround, which back then used to be hosted by a news presenter called Lizzo. Motherfucking Lizzo was there, man. Lizzo came up to me, he's like, hi Sonic, how you doing? I can't say anything, so I'm just waving my hands around like, hi Lizzo. And the camera guy was there. He's like, hey, yeah, so, hey, I'm here at the River Thames with Sonic the Hedgehog and like 30 Marios. And I was like, this is actually quite fun, man. Oh shit, I'm getting interviewed by Lizzo. I can't say anything. I just got to wave like an idiot. But fucking hell, it's Lizzo from Newsround, fam. And then it got a bit awkward afterwards because some other media people came up to me and they were like, hey, Sonic, how you doing? Sonic, do you think you could do a little run for us along the River Thames? And like, a run? You want me to run? I can't see where I'm going. I've got knights trying to hold my hand telling me where to go. I can't. You want me to run? I can't see out these foam eyes, bruv. Of course, I can't tell him that. So I'm like, oh shit. I'm going to have to run now. And there was this one point where I'm running along the side of the River Thames, jogging with this giant helmet on. It's got flipping straps dug into my flipping chin. The helmet's going to fall off. My cover's going to be blown. The head's going to fall off and they're going to see this bloody rude boy dressed as Sonic. It was really, really difficult to run while wearing the Sonic costume. And obviously, I had to try and find my way back to wherever Trippy was. So I'd run a bit. They took their footage. I don't think they even used the footage. I don't even remember whose channel it was or what media outlet it was that was taking the video footage. They were like, Sonic, hey, Sonic, how's it going, man? Do you want to do a little sprint up across the River Thames for us? I'm like, no. But I had to do it anyway. So I ran up. I was like, shit, how do I get back now? I can't see where I'm going. So I made my way back eventually. I think Knights came to meet me halfway. Thank you, Knights. Big up, Knights. Big up my girlfriend. She came to meet me halfway and brought us back. Then the Guinness World Record people were counting the amount of cosplayers. I think they took like a photograph of us on the bridge. I don't even know if that was safe. But anyway, we were taking photographs, and then at one point I noticed Richard Jakes had turned up, right? Richard Jakes, music composer Richard Jakes, the guy who done the music for games like Sonic R, Jet Set Radio, Metropolis Street Racer, okay? Richard Jakes, legendary music composer that has worked with Sega from the 90s up until this point in time in 2008. I was like, Richard Jakes is here. And I can't talk to him. I'm dressed as fucking Sonic right now. I was like, oh shit. We had to take a bunch of photographs of Richard Jakes. And I just wanted to like, just take the flipping costume off and shake his hand. And I couldn't. We had to take more photographs. And then people kept interviewing me. And I'm like, just bro, allow it for a second. I want to talk to Richard Jakes. And then like, okay, they finished taking the world record event. They took the number down. It was the starting number. I think it was something like 89 people, whatever the hell it was. And they were like, cool, it's a good starting number. We'll put that in the book. And then next year, someone can come along and beat that number. And it was a great day. It was lovely. And I'm just like, man, oh god, I didn't get a chance to talk to Richard Jakes because I couldn't talk as Sonic, fuck's sake. So it was time to sort of get changed now. And I was like, oh, where am I going to get changed, man? There's so many people around at this point now. When we arrived, it was kind of empty, but now it's kind of built up. I mean, there's students visiting the nearby art gallery. There's people going to work, crossing the bridge and that. And I'm standing there dressed as Sonic, and I'm like, I'm going to have to get half naked in this February cold weather with all these people around me. And I'm just like, I sort of whispered to Kev, I'm like, Kev, man, where am I going to get it changed? And he goes, oh, I suppose you could go underneath the bridge. You can go underneath the bridge. And I'm like, oh, man, fuck's sake. So anyway, I start huddling off to underneath the bridge, you know, Trippy's dragging me on that way. And all these French students were there, like these French college students, art students. They were visiting the art gallery and they were like, hey, Sonic, Sonic. Fucking one of them pulled my tail, bruv. Fucking one of them pulled my tail. Because I was going to tell her, but like, yo, I'm going to give you something else to pull in a minute if you do that one more time. Trust me. It's like, fucking hell, leave me alone. We got underneath the bridge and there was no one else around. It was just me, my girlfriend Trippy, who's still dressed as Knights, and a few of our friends. Kev was there, and I'm taking the costume off now. I unclip the helmet and I take the helmet off, start taking off the main bodysuit, and I'm like standing there in these flipping tights underneath a bridge, half naked, dressed as fucking Sonic. And fucking Richard Jakes comes round the corner, right? Obviously to talk to Kev, because they might do business. I think they're talking about what was happening with some of the games at the time, and Kev being the community manager, he's talking to Richard Jakes. They're obviously doing some sort of business. They're talking. Richard Jakes comes over to talk to Kev, and I'm half naked next to the River Thames in February, freezing my ass off, half dressed as Sonic. Richard Jakes turns up, and I look at him and I'm like, yo, I don't even care. I don't care. I don't give two shits. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm half naked, dressed as Sonic right now. I'm gonna go over to this guy and shake his hand. I went over to him, I shook his hand. I was like, man, I've still got the Sonic gloves on. I still had the fucking Sonic gloves on. I'm half naked, but the Sonic gloves are still on. I went over to him and just like, yo, I've been wanting to say this all day. Nice to meet you. You're amazing. I've been listening to your music ever since Sonic Hall on the Sega Saturn. You're my brethren. And he looked at me and was like, oh yeah, nice to meet you too. You're gonna catch cold. You're gonna catch cold like that. You should probably finish getting changed. And I'm like, man, Richard Jakes told me to finish getting changed. That was fucking strange, man. But I didn't care, man. I was like, listen, I don't know what's gonna happen. I could finish taking off this whole costume and he might leave by that point. I'm not gonna miss this chance. I'm gonna go over to Richard Jakes right now and shake his goddamn hand, man. I don't care if I'm half naked. I don't care if I'm freezing. I'm shaking the dude's hand, and I shook his hand. Half naked, underneath a bridge, next to the River Thames, half naked dressed as Sonic. Can't make that shit up. But yeah, what's going on, everybody? I hope you enjoyed this video. That was the story of the time I had to officially wear the official Sonic the Hedgehog costume for Sega Europe. Had to represent Sega Europe at a World Guinness Record event, and all the bizarre, surreal things that happened during the course of that event. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please throw me a like, and if you're new around these ends, please consider subscribing and sticking around. I've got more crazy stories coming up in the future, like the legendary Digital Pimp stories that people have been asking for. That's going to be its own saga at some point. I'm going to duck out of here in a second, but before I do, I would like to send a huge shout out again to Alandria for backing me on Patreon. Thank you so much, my dear. And all the patrons are pushing me closer to my goals of becoming fully funded with this YouTube thing. And if you want to play a part in this story, please consider backing me on Patreon as well. Links are in the video description, and all support is greatly appreciated. Also, one last thing in case this applies to you. If you're on Twitter and Instagram, then so am I. Feel free to follow me there too and stay in the loop with everything that's happening to me. I've been DigiValentine, thanks for your time, take care, and I'll see you all again real soon. And yo, if they don't know about me, let them know, yeah? Safe.